Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got another player name mixed review video for you. In this video series, I either play Steam demos or mixed reviewed games. I then record live reactionary commentary on top of the pre-recorded video and give you my live reaction to the game as it's being played. And today we're going to be talking about Autumn Night 3D Shooter. And right now you're looking at the very first screen that you see when you open the game, so it's not a whole lot to look at, but hey, let's give this one a chance. Let's go check out the Steam page. Alright, so we're looking at the screenshots here, and the first thing that attracted me to this game was the screenshots. I have to say, I really enjoy the retro pixelated look. I'm a sucker for it, and I thought it looked pretty nice. The next thing I'll say about this game as a positive is it kind of has a heretic or a hexen vibe, which again is another plus in my eyes. So just based off the screenshots alone, stylistically and artistically, I think the developer has nailed it so far. The game is a solo developer named Sergey Bobrov. And another thing that I found really interesting, and another reason why I wanted to give this game a shot, is that it says that the engine was built completely from scratch. And I always want to give props and credit where credit's due when it comes to small projects like this. That's really impressive in my opinion. This game's been out for a little while now. It was made in 2017, and unfortunately since that time it's only been able to get 37 reviews, and those reviews are mixed with only 64% being a positive review. And I have read the reviews. There are a couple rough ones. Some are pointing to it being an overpriced game. It's a pretty small game and it's kind of a developer's experiment, and the game is $8.99, so I can kind of see that point of view. However, I'm not here to read reviews to you guys. I'm here to give my opinion, so let's just hop right into the game and talk about it. Alright, so here we go, jumping right into Autumn Night 3D Shooter, grabbing this yellow gem rod. First weapon here, it's just a staff with a little yellow gem on the end. Got some item pickups here, we can't grab those yet. Blue one, I believe is health, yellow is ammo. First couple of enemies up here, just some demon dudes. Alright, so they drop a couple of the blue bottles, and yeah, those look like their health. A little nitpick, I think for readability's sake, instead of blue bottles, they should have done red bottles. You know, maybe save blue for an ammo pickup that's usually associated with mana and red's associated with health. Now we're getting swarmed by different enemies here. We got some goat looking dudes that charge and some cultist kind of guys in robes that are shooting. So definitely a couple of enemy varieties here, which is always good to see. So as I'm going through this here, I remember thinking, what the heck am I doing? You know, obviously I'm shooting enemies, but where do I go? What's next? And what I noticed is in the bottom left of my HUD, and every enemy I kill, that number goes up. Alright, so what does that mean? Well, obviously I gotta get 67 kills, but what does that 67 kills do for me? Not really sure yet. The HUD's a little bit confusing. You know, you have a little gold gem there. But again, there's no real spot on the HUD that really explains how much ammo we have left. And I always kind of remember playing this thinking that that was a little bit confusing. So another critique here is the HUD could use a little bit of work. You know, so here's the thing, right? This is basically the game. Our goal is to run around and kill as many of these enemies that spawn as we can. And once we kill enough of them, we can open up this portal and get to the next area. And we do it all over again. That is the game. You know, so this game, let's remember that this game is almost $9. Self-written, self-programmed engine, which is great. You know, but there's no real story to it. There's no real level design. It's just this big, wide open level. And as far as I can tell right now, there's only 3 enemy types. You know, so you're paying essentially $9 to run around in a big open area with not a great amount of variety. You know, it's not a bad game. Like, nothing about this is bad. The shooting is actually pretty good. The art is good. The music is good. The environments are good. The developer has nailed a few things here that definitely feels like a 90s vibe. I think my personal big sticking point is the price point of this game. This should have been a $3 game. But we've kicked around on this surface area for long enough. Let's go underground to the next section here. Okay, we got different enemies, so now I'm eating my own words. No, but in all seriousness, down here, it's not much different. You just have these little gremlin guys. But we are in an underground area, so it does vary up a little bit, but you know, there's just, I'm not sure if the levels are procedural or if they're just big, open, and sprawling. But it definitely doesn't have that feeling of running around collecting keys, collecting items, pickups, power-ups. You know, we are lacking a few of the major elements of that make a good boomer shooter a boomer shooter. You know, it is a little maze-like. You know, we are in an incredibly long hallway here, and we're kind of lost, so we're not quite sure where we go. So it is a little maze-like. You know, there's no real secrets, there's no buttons. So in that respect, it's a little dull. I do remember playing this game feeling like it felt a little dull. I was kind of bored at this point. So because we're down here in this labyrinth, I'm going to skip ahead now until we get to the next major area. Alright, so we're going back up the elevator now. This is actually a different elevator than the one we went down into. It took me a while to find it down there, and we got a sword. So a new weapon here, and it looks like the green gems can now be used with this sword. So, you know, it's taken us some time to find a new weapon. It's taken us some time to get into it, but things are starting to get a little bit more interesting now with new weapons. As for pacing of this game, in my humble opinion, I mean, I've cut back several minutes worth of gameplay in that transition, but we're pretty significantly into the level at this point. I mean, we're 55 kills in, and now that number's changed to 96. And you know, we're like 10, 15 minutes into the gameplay here, and we just now are getting the second weapon. So in terms of pacing, I would have loved to see getting more weapons early on. You know, and again, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I feel like variety, speed, variety, you know, pickups, buttons, mazes, you know, getting keys, running around, having things to do is... Alright, we got another weapon here. So this is good now. This is really good. Finally getting some more variety. So this looks like weapon 4 of 5, and we might have missed the second weapon somehow. But that number of, once we get more weapons, that number to change to the next level or the next area has gone up to 112 now. We're at 75. So we're starting to get surrounded by a lot more enemies here. But again, variety in these games, it's really important. If you remember, you know, Doom, Quake, you know, some of the newer games like a Medieval that are a lot like, you know, weapons are very similar to this one. You know, you're going through handcrafted levels with interesting areas and a lot of different enemies. This is just a horde shooter, essentially, is what this is, which is not a terrible thing. It's just, you know, it promotes itself as being built in the spirit of the 90s, which it nails a couple things. But if you're going to promote yourself as a game that is built in the spirit of the 90s, in my opinion, you need to do something a little bit more than just a horde shooter. It's not a bad idea to have a horde shooter mode. A lot of games do, like Dusk has one, Herat has one. I don't know if a Medieval does, but a lot of these games have horde shooter modes now, endless modes they call them. You know, I think that this game could really have benefited from maybe some handcrafted levels, and that would have showed this guy's engine off that he programmed himself a lot better, in my opinion. Alright, so that gym just filled up. So there was, remember how earlier I said I'm not quite sure how the ammo system works. So that green gym was depleted, and then you pick one up and it refills. So I guess the gems on your HUD, the more those gems on your HUD get damaged, that means the less ammo you have. So, you know, that is not as readable as I would have liked, but once I figured it out, I guess it makes sense. So for the interest of time, I am going to skip ahead again here. Alright, so I had to go underground to basically find enough enemies to kill to get to the 112, which I have done. So we're going up the elevator here. I couldn't find that second weapon. I tried. You know, there were some more secrets. I just couldn't figure out where they were. So we're going to just get to the teleporter here to see if that takes us to the next area. And booyah, it does. It takes us to the next area. And I don't play the game much more than this. We're going to play this area for a few minutes. And so I think while we fight in this area, I'm going to summarize my thoughts because it's kind of that time. So this one's interesting. There's a bar in the middle of your screen here. So the gray guy's like a boss monster. So you damage him and that blue bar goes up. And then I think once that blue bar is fully filled up, then you can actually kill him. All right, let's quickly talk about this game here. I did not play past this level. I will fully admit to you guys, I was incredibly bored at this point. I just felt like this game did not really do enough. I can kind of agree with the negative reviews, unfortunately. It's an expensive game at $9. And sure, that maybe it's not expensive for some games, but it just depends on how much content the game delivers. This game really did not deliver enough content, in my opinion. It's just a horde shooter, essentially. I hate to say it, it's just not even a very good one. The engine's impressive. The art is actually impressive. The music is actually really good. I feel like those kind of things, the style, all that harkens back to the good old days. However, the gameplay itself, it just doesn't do it. It just doesn't do it for me. If this game had more handcrafted levels, maze-like levels, you know, key finding, button pressing, monster closets, power-ups, faster speeds, more enemies, you know, all that stuff. Where's our rocket launcher or rocket launcher equivalent? You know, there's just some things in this that just didn't quite get nailed, and unfortunately for that, I have to give this one, I guess, my negative score. So as far as a player nay goes, guys, this one is a nay. I think you should pass on this one. Here I am trying to damage the heck out of this boss. That bar's very stubborn, but it is going up. Let's fast forward here. Alright, so this guy is a bit of a bullet sponge, but he does eventually go down. And then I go on to the next area here. And spoiler alert, I do die. And I just remember after dying thinking to myself, I just don't know if I can get through this game and play it again. So I think at that point I did put it down. And there were a couple comments in the reviews about how you die a little bit too quickly in the later levels. And there's not enough ammo to finish some of the later levels. I didn't get to experience that. However, I will just say, if this game was like $3 or $4, I'd say to pick it up. And again, it's mixed reviews for a reason, right? I feel like there were a couple things that this guy did a good job with, and then there's just some stuff that he really missed the mark on. So for that, if you trust my opinion, I say you guys pass on this one. But hey, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying the Player Nay series. It's a little bit different than my other more standard reviews, and I still want to keep some of these videos coming, so if you're enjoying them, please let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out. The channel's been really growing quickly, and I really appreciate that, so everybody subscribing, thank you so much. Keep interacting with me, guys. I can't wait to bring you some more great content. I'm SaltyOctopus, and I'll see you in the next one.